Well, hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. I'm your man, Dan. Today we got a totally off-the-wall project, but it is a project nonetheless. Believe it or not, I just had like one of those epiphany moments. And as you come up with an idea, like, by golly, I got the know-how, I got the tools, why not? So let's just get into it, shall we? So guys, what we got here today, if you haven't already put it together, a big freaking box. Don't worry, all of this crap is super affordable and I got it from Amazon. I will link everything down in the description in case you're interested in doing this particular little side task for yourself. What we got here is a 15-gallon, count them, 15 gallons. I know that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but this is already a sizable tank, so I'm trying to keep it in perspective here. But the goal here is, in case you're anything like me and you enjoy the camping thing, like you're out, I know a lot of places have full hookups or wherever you go, but if you're doing some boondocking, like me and my fam, we always end up doing bike events and, racing and this and that, and you're just out in the middle of a field with nothing. So all you got is the water that you brought with you and or the generator that you're running. So you really are just kind of self-sufficient, whatever you got. So my particular camper, I think, has a 40 or a 45-gallon freshwater tank for like showering and using the fixtures and everything. But in the event we run out of water, that's where this little puppy comes in. The goal, at least what I was attempting to do, is I wanted like a sturdy, something robust tank that I could put fresh water in, put it in the bed of the truck, and then I have a way to bring extra water with me, or at least an ability to be able to go out and get more and bring it back to the camper. That's where this thing came in. I was just looking and looking and looking, and actual water tanks, they're pretty cumbersome. It's either them little cute little things with the spout on it, or like the big drum totes. And this guy fit the bill perfectly. Not only is it already in a horizontal position, so it'll be way more stable in the bed of the truck, but this thing is made to be strapped down on the back rack of a quad or ATV or something. Well, handily enough, I got one of those laying around. So, we're out at the races somewhere, we're at a campground or whatever that doesn't have hookups. I throw this guy on the back of the ATC, run out to the watering hole, whatever, fill it up, and then whenever we get back, I can transfer this water into the tank on the camper. And another cool thing about this, because this is like a weed sprayer, this particular one has, I don't even know where the picture is, I'm pointing at nothing here. It has a 12-volt pump already on it. So that gives us a lot of options. I know it's not earth-shattering. It's like 1 gallon per minute. However, this whole thing is a kit. It was like $100. So it came with everything I already needed, minus some slight modifications that we're gonna do. But because it's 12 volt, and most campers have a huge 12 volt system in them, and not to mention the truck that you're pulling it with, but that also opens us up to some remote possibilities. I will get into that when we get there, but let's get this bad boy open. So let's just rip into this guy here. Like I mentioned, all this crap that you're going to see in this thing, totally Amazonable. I was doing the best I could to try to figure a decent solution for this, and I really think this one's going to, do the trick. So we got some booklets. That's awesome. A nice, sturdy 15-gallon tank with accoutrement. So this thing, oh man, I don't know how you'd want to rate this in mil or whatever, but if I had to guess, we're probably talking 1/8 inch, 3/16 thick. Like, this thing's sturdy. You're not going to have to worry about this thing rocking around in the bed of your truck and beating up against stuff, because it's sturdy. The only thing I'm questionable about is this pump, but we'll get there, and it's upgradable should that need be. Now let's go through the rest of this crap. Now we got the pump, or the pump tank, whatever. We already know what's going on with that 15-gallon capacity. We got the hose and the wand. We're not going to be using the wand, but it's cool. I don't know. Put it in your inventory. Why not? You just got the stuff. Got a nice 8-inch IBC tote lid for the tank. and some other stuff and some wiring. They're kind of already anticipating what I'm trying to do. So this guy here in the goodie bag, they give you a set of 12-volt jumper leads. I mean, yins aren't slow. You're probably knowing where I'm going with this. Because this is 12 volt, that opens us up to a lot of opportunities. So you can use these guys and just alligator clip them on to the battery in your quad or the tractor or the golf cart or whatever you're using this thing on. However, I plan on taking this a little bit different route, but it is cool that they give us this harness. If you guys are familiar with battery tenders, it's the same plug. I'll show you. So guys, this is what we're talking about. This is like the harness that comes in the kit. So you got your positive and ground here for a 12-volt system and some alligator clips on the other side. So you can just put this on the posts of a battery should you choose to. Get this crap out of the way for now because we're not ready for that yet. And cool enough, the harness that's on the pump also has this battery tender style connector on it. So it's super versatile. What I plan on doing here is we're not going to utilize this because I want this thing to be self-sufficient, as it were. So I'm going to leave this plug here so that allows me to change how I power this thing. So like you can keep this in the truck or whatever in the event you need it. That's awesome. But what I'm doing, where is that thing? I know I had like 3 of them. Oh. This little gem has gotten me out of quite a bit of binds. This, my friends, is a Dewalt battery adapter. That's right. 12-volt system, completely remote with a 20-volt max Dewalt battery. And yeah, they make them with all different kinds. You can get Ryobi, Milwaukee, Hildy, whatever kind of batteries you're rocking for your power equipment. You can get these auxiliary like docking stations for. So the plan here, now you guys see what I'm going for. This guy is going on here. It's going to run the 12-volt pump. That way I can leave this thing in the bed of my truck. I do whatever you need to do, but this thing is totally self-containable. So I have this thing on the back of the quad or whatever's going on. I'm trying to fill up the tank in the camper. Now this thing is totally self-sustained. I just turn around, put the battery in, and Bob's your uncle. We're cooking. Now the plan here, guys, that you can see this crap a little bit better. You can see we got our stock, probably going to be super underpowered pump, but it's cool. It comes with it. Honestly, I did some price comparison, and to buy just this tank by itself, just the tank, nothing else, was I think $69. But to buy the entire thing with the pump and the wand and all the wiring and everything was like $96. So it was kind of worth it. At least like this gets you, if nothing else, the wiring and the plumbing that you're going to need anyway if you intend on doing this. So you guys see here these 2 like grommets, if you will. They're like threaded inserts. So these are part of the tank and they're meant to be there so this thing won't leak. Like you're not drilling holes into it. There's supposed to be clips that go into here that hold that wand so it becomes part of it. The plan is I'm going to take this guy, since it already has through mounting holes, utilize one of them and put it right there. That way the battery stays with this thing, and I'm going to put a battery tender lead on the end of this thing so we are able to plug into here and keep the factory plug so we can still utilize this if and when we need to. So we're going to head right on over here. This is like the junk chop drawer in everybody's kitchen. This just happens to be in the garage. And luckily enough for me, since I am a motorcycle junkie, like most of you probably already know, I have a lot of battery tender stuff laying around, like attachments and extra stuff that comes with kits that I ended up not using, like this right here. Actually, man, this would actually work in lieu of that thing. So we are going to use one of these right here along with the harness that came in the kit. Well, guys, I found myself in a conundrum here. The factory harness that it came with is probably 8 feet long. So I really don't want to cut this one because it's nice and it already is put together. This one is an actual battery tender lead. Significantly better quality and a lot nicer. However, it's only like 18 inches, 2 feet. So I think what we're going to want to do is I'm going to lop this guy off so I can utilize the pigtail. And that's what we're going to connect to the battery adapter. So this is its own thing. Well, Mama sells eggs at a grocery store, and my oldest sister's a first rate. That ain't country. Sorry. Guys, next phase of this here contraption, we're going to take the battery tender harness and choose an appropriate length. Make sure you measure twice. So cool. Now we got that. And we are going to solder A to B. So folks, here's the plan. I'm going to grab me a fancy dancy soldering iron and some solder. Actually, I did a video on this particular soldering iron, which is absolutely freaking fantastic, and a video about just how to solder in general. If you're interested, check out the links for those down in the description. But first step, I suppose, let's take back a good length of these here and strip them down. Give yourself plenty of room to work with. Now, cool enough, on this here Dewalt adapter, they're already stripped. But honestly, I'd like a little bit more than that, so let's just go ahead and take some more. Now, in the event you are doing this same procedure as me, you may notice that here we have black and red to notate positive and negative. Over here, we don't have that. But all battery tender plugs are the same. The positive one is the one that's covered, not to mention it's marked with a positive. And the other one that's exposed is the negative. So either you can just follow those down, pay attention, you know which is which, or if you'd like to be absolutely sure, you can take a meter and ohm out from end to end just so you are 100% sure you know which one is which. So let's just do that for kicks here. We'll take the old fluke here, give her an on button, go on over into noise making mode, make sure that we got the beeper on. There we go. So we are going to look for the hot leg in this here harness, which should be this one. Check that out. Go ahead and put a good kink in that one so we know which is which. And now we hopefully won't be able to screw this up. So make sure you put some heat shrink on this crap before you actually do it. I cannot tell you how. It's like putting the nut on whenever you flare. Forgetting to put the nut on when you flare a brake line. No matter how many times you do it, you will do it again. Alright. Got us some fire. And we got us some heat shrink. We're going to be generous with this heat shrink here. Good, probably 2-inch long pieces. Throw them down on over one side or the other. Pick and choose. There is no wrong answer here. But let's go ahead and get us our helping hand here and set up our soldering station. So might as well do the positive one first, since that's the one we already figured out, and let's not take a chance at messing it up. So this is kind of like skinning a cat. There is a million different ways to solder, and I have seen it done probably 500,000 different ways. The way I choose to do it is just like you saw there. I mechanically twist the two wires together. That way it holds together physically during the act of soldering. Now, just to make this easier on me and for you to see it, I'm going to go ahead and clamp this thing up into a helping hand. And in case you're interested, I'll link one of these things in the description too, because they really are priceless. It is so nice having one of these things. So we'll go ahead and plug in our fancy soldering iron. Yeah, check that out. It's USB. Plug that in, USB-C cable. Into the back of the iron. Turn it on, and boom. Look at that. Climbing up in temp already. Man, this thing is sweet. So we got us some fine rosin core solder here. Go ahead and tin the tip of the iron here. you know, just make the medicine go down. And then we'll get to working on the joint here. I suppose I probably could have waited a little bit longer for this iron to heat up, but I'm impatient. Oh yeah, we're flowing now. Now make sure you get plenty of it in there so it wicks all the way through the strands in the wire and we are ensured a good connection. Boy howdy, that's nice. So we'll take this one out and do the exact same thing for the ground. But like I mentioned, make sure that you have your heat shrink on first because you can't undo it. We'll go ahead, take our strands from either side. What I like to do is just lap them over each other. So the first bend is just like yay. And then you just keep on going. Wrap them around each other in opposing directions until you have something nice, sleek, and neat looking like this, because you want a nice small profile that's still going to fit under the heat shrink. Same thing, we'll fix her up in our helping hands here. Take our sufficiently heated iron. Go back ahead and tin the iron again. Let it sit there for just a moment so we can actually heat the joint. Oh yeah. This one's doing a lot better with the sufficiently heated iron. Cooking with grease now, boy. Cool, man. Soldering is done. So we'll just unplug this guy, get it off to the side somewhere safe and let it cool down. Now we can do our heat shrinking. We'll simply just slide that on over the joint. You can kind of feel it, make sure it's in the middle. Yeah, that seems to be all right. And use a torch that's way too big. Oh yeah. Oh, we definitely lost some knuckle hair on that one, but that's all right. It grows back. And we'll do the same thing for the other one. Nice. Now we're set. We got a pert near factory harness that we're going to use for this thing. Well, we might as well give this thing a test run here. We got a Dewalt battery sitting on the bench. Go ahead back to our trusty fluke. Volts Deca. Now, we should put the hot probe in there if we did this correctly. And negative there. Nice. 18 volts. I'd say we're cooking. Cool. Now that this is done, and plenty enough lead and all that crap. Take this one up here, get it out of the way for now. So like I mentioned, this may not be the best solution, but I think with a little bit of double stick tape and a screw, this is going to be more than sufficient just to hold a battery there for whatever you might need. But like I mentioned, these things are in here factory, so like it's already a good approved mount location for something. So luckily in the kit, because it was supposed to put that wand harness thing here, we have appropriate hardware. So let's dig through and find that. I mean, we got something here. Yeah. Looks like a number 2 Phillips pan screw. And luckily enough, it's... we might have to get creative. Well, guys, you already saw this. This is what we're dealing with that we're trying to mount to that. And this is the screw that came in the kit for that particular mount location. However, the head don't fit in the hole. So I'm going to go digging through the bolt bin over there and see if we can't find something a little bit better. Now, one thing you're going to want to pay attention to on this particularly is the depth. Because we do not want to go too far into that thing and make a problem. But, however, this appears to be just a normal 1024 machine screw. So, I don't know. We'll see what I can get with the right size head on it. Oh, that one works. An 832. Wonder if this thing will take the threads. I think we're going to work. It's worth a go anyway. Sweet. Get us some appropriate drivers here. Now, and honestly, guys, I think we're pretty good on the stick out here too. That's about the factory length, so I'm not worried about it going too far down into that thing and cracking it. All right. Oh yeah, this is gonna. Oh. Mm-hmm. You guys watch me do that. I gotta put tape on the backside of this thing. At least now I know the fastener is gonna work. So back over here to ye old bench. You know, this is Scotch two-sided. I thought I had better stuff than this. I don't know. This is still pretty good stuff. I don't know. We'll rip off a couple strips and Well, guys, this is what I concocted. Is it pretty? No. Is it gonna work? Oh yeah. So we'll do this in conjunction with that hardware, and I don't think this thing's gonna be going anywhere anytime soon. Oh, tree. And 4. Cool. There are screw in there. Get that thing started before we actually hit the tape down, because you guys know this stuff. It's permanento. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah, I like it. Man, you can't argue with results. That's all I'm saying. Well, guys, I think we're almost ready for a function test here. My favorite part about this whole thing is that we kept the factory plug on it. Now, like I mentioned, this pump is probably garbage, but I don't know. I honestly, I have a contingency for that also, but we'll get to that towards the tail end. But I like the fact that we can use the crappy thing that it came with, so you can just hook this up to any old battery, or unplug it, throw this in your toolbox, forget about it, or use our Stan's Pro Shop aftermarket Dewalt battery slap-on thing, so you can use this wherever you want to. So, let's put on the discharge pipe here and throw some water in it. So the pipe, well, pipe, hose, whatever. This has to be threaded in there, huh? Well, at least this part's threaded anyhow. Hmm. 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 I don't know. We're going to do some investigating here. Alrighty, class. I've done some more digging, and I think I've figured out what I want to do in which direction. So, if you can tell here, we just got a length rubber hose. If I had to guess, it's probably 10, 12 feet or so. And it appears to be 3/8 ID. So, this guy here is actually crimped into the end of the wand. And I don't necessarily want to destroy this in the event I don't want to use it for a freshwater holding tank anymore, and I actually want to use it for its intended purpose, you know, like spraying pesticides and weed killer and all that. So what I'm going to do is cut the hose clean back here and not disturb the crimp. So in the event I want to put this thing back together down the line, I can just repair the hose with a dual-sided barb, put it back together, and it's like it never happened. So that's what we're going to do instead of trying to destroy the factory get up here. So we're going to grab us some banana loppers here. Your favorite cable cutters / hose cutters / finger nippers if you're in the wrong spot. Take that. See? Now we got a little chunk left on there that we can repair later if we want. Throw that in the box and you're probably going to lose it anyway. Let's be real here. Take off these ear zippy ties. Cool. Now we got a big length of hose that we're going to use to transfer our freshwater from tank A into tank B in the camper. Now, this thing comes with these factory supplied like cutesy little plastic hose clamp. I don't know. We can try it, but chances are I'm going to end up putting like a regular stainless worm clamp on here, but whatever. Hey, would you look at that? The kit came with a little hose clamp anyway, so there you go. It's I don't know, probably another crap cheapy little thing, but whatever. It's something that I've got to take out of stock for the project, you know. So we'll go ahead and throw this guy on here. That seems to be sufficient. We'll tighten down our China supplied hose clamp. Try not to break it the very first time it's being used, because I don't know if you guys caught that or not. The inlet and the outlet, like barbs on this pump, are plastic. So do not crush this thing. Just enough to, yeah, it's on there. So because we opted for the whole kit and not just the tank, all the plumbing inside the tank is already done. There's already a whip in here with like a pickup filter. Like, it's ready to go. All we had to do was attach the output hose and, you know, whatever rigging you wanted to do in the process. Now, I know a lot of you guys may have caught this and may have noticed that I didn't say anything. You see that there is a fuse here on the battery side, and there's also a fuse on this side. Well, I mean, the pump harness came with a fuse in it, and this thing comes with a fuse in it. This one just happens to be a 30 amp fuse because it's 10 AWG wire. And then it goes down to whatever little crap this is. But either way, I don't care because it's fused on this side also. So if something happens, it's still going to stop at this fuse. I know it's like incredibly overkill and redundant, if you will, but whatever, that's the way it comes. So I might as well use it, right? And, you know, in the event for whatever reason this thing doesn't work, or I don't know, we upgrade this pump later on down the line. Now we cut this harness here after the fuse or before the fuse, or you do you, whatever. But now we still have our already like made 12-volt harness for this thing. So let's get some water. All right. Get us some garden hosage here. Yep. And I'll make sure that there's nothing in there. Fill it up. There's an outlet drain on this side. There's a cap that comes with it. Just probably put that in there. Yeah, make sure you cap that off with the plug supplied in the kit. But hey, man, that's cool. I didn't even realize that that was on there or a part of this. So in the event you lose all of your fancy dancy electronics, as long as this thing is taller than the tank that you're filling, like you have this up on the bed of your truck and then the tank in your camper's down here, just hook up a garden hose and you still get the same thing out of it. So, yeah, we're just going to let that run for a minute or two and grab ourselves a refreshment in the meantime. Stay. Stay. Oh, that's the stuff. Oh. Oh, yeah. We're getting there. I don't want to fill it, you know, just for testing, but don't run the pump dry. Whenever you're doing this, don't get excited and throw the battery in there to test out your fancy harness. You don't want the pump to be run without water. Make sure you don't forget that. Well, I don't know. That's sufficient. We're halfway or whatever. That's good enough. I got to find something to pump this into. Nice. Harbor Freight bucket for the win. Let's position this a little bit better so you can see what's going on here. Oh, let me get this set up so you can see it. All right. Now, we got our discharge bucket in place. We got our discharge hose ready to be discharged. This thing's actually, it's a pretty good length. Honestly, it's better than I thought. Now, let me grab an appropriate battery. That one I was using on the bench, that's like that 1.5 amp hour. Nah, I don't know. Since this is 1 gallon a minute rated pump, let's just say best case scenario, it would take 15 minutes for this thing to empty this tank. I'd suggest getting at least a 3 amp hour battery, and that'll probably get us through this. All right, there we go. We got our 3 amp. And because this thing does not have a switch, which I guess that's probably a solid upgrade that we could have done also. It's just I didn't think about it until right now, to be honest with you. Either way, this thing's our switch. So as soon as you plug the battery in, she's going to start chooching. So make sure that you got your hose where it needs to go whenever we're doing this. Oh. It works. I mean, it doesn't sound happy about it. Okay, so it's like an RV pump. It has a pressure switch in it, which makes sense for what this thing is supposed to be. So, like, whenever it reaches a certain PSI, it shuts off, so it doesn't blow itself apart. I don't know if free running like this is going to be... I don't know. But, I don't know. Let's run it out. So, guys, I got this thing kind of rigged up. May not be the best situation because I think I might be pinching the hose a little bit. But either way, let's throw this guy in here. You can see we're full charge, 3 amp battery. And like I mentioned, this thing is, I don't know, a little under halfway. So let's just say, give or take 6-7 gallons, maybe. I don't know. Let's just slap it in and see if it doesn't let the smoke out. There I go, not paying attention. There's about 5 gallons. So I know I didn't bore you with watching that whole thing because of how noisy this stupid thing is, but what do you expect for the price point? But either way, it's not hot. It's just noisy, and we're still at a full 3 bars on that same battery. So I don't know. I'd call that a win. So, guys, like I mentioned, I did have a contingency in the event that this thing wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. So, what that contingency is, other than just straight gravity feed like we talked about, this guy right here. This is a Dayton pump from Grainger. If you guys scour Grainger every day like myself, you are very familiar with the brand Dayton. It's kind of like the Walmart brand of things like the Great Value or whatever. I don't know, but this is Grainger's industrial Great Value brand. It's Dayton. Either way, this is a 120 volt water transfer pump. So either side of the impeller housing has just a regular 5/8 garden hose fitting, which honestly is like perfect for this application because this thing has that garden hose bung on the side of it. So either you can hook up a hose to the inlet side of this thing, dunk it in the top, hook it up onto the side, grab yourself a separate hose, and go from this transfer pump into the tank in your camper. So now, you guys may be saying to yourself, hey, Dan, that's 120 volt AC. You just went through all this crap to make it run on 12 volt DC. Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? Yeah, I get it. I know. They do make significantly better 12 volt DC pumps for this application, but I had one of these and it was economical. I'll see if I can find something similar to this on Amazon. Obviously, it's not going to be able to be this one because it's a Grainger brand. But I'll see if I can find something similar in like GPM and PSI and all the ratings and crap. But the reason why I thought this would be an okay application for a contingency plan is because I have a 2024 Silverado And luckily enough, in the bed of the truck, there's a 120 volt outlet. So all I got to do is turn the truck on and I got 120 volts. I know there's also 12 volt power that I have access to since you're at the vehicle, but yeah, I don't know. It's nice to have options. You know, even if you don't got the truck or whatever, throw an extension cord underneath the camper. Either way, you got a way to get extra fresh water from a different source into the tank on your camper. So, guys, I know this is not an earth-shattering revelation here, but I got a big trip coming up that I'm going to be boondocking, and I'm going to be there for like 4 days. So, I don't know, me and a couple other guys in the camper, you know, taking showers every day and stuff like that. I'm afraid that we may run out of water. Maybe not, I don't know, but still, now I have a solid backup for events such as that. Whenever you're just out in the middle of nowhere, parked in a field for a couple of days, you know, if you're afraid that your freshwater tank reserve won't hold up, now I have the ability to bring an extra 15 gallons of fresh water with me. I throw this thing in the bed of the truck and forget about it. I mean, if you need it, it's there. Great. If not, just leave it there. Who cares, man? You fill it up with your garden hose at the house. And I like the portability factor of this one. Like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, I went through, like, I've been toying this idea around for a minute now, and I was looking just through like freshwater holding tanks, and a lot of them are cylindrical and tall, like a small 55-gallon drum, something like that, or like I mentioned, the smaller ones with like the spout for drinking water and stuff. And it wasn't like the rugged application I was looking for. I wanted something stout that could roll around in the bed of your truck and not get beat up or destroyed in the first weekend trip you take with it. This thing is made to be strapped on the back of an ATV. So like it's built for rugged application. Now I know there may be those of you out there like, hey Dan, that's not an approved drinking water container. It's water, people. Come on. We're not drinking this anyway. I do not drink the water coming out of the holding tank in my camper. And honestly, I suggest that you don't either. Like, yes, it is fresh, clean water that you put in from your house or you filter it or whatever. It's a holding tank that changes temperature and humidity, and like honestly, you really don't know what's going on inside that holding tank in your camper. I mean, even if you do treat it properly and like clean it out every year and do the preventative maintenance what you're supposed to do, I don't like the fact that I can't hook my peepers on the inside of that thing. And you know, showering is one thing, but drinking it, I don't know. This is really just so we can get cleaned up at the end of the day and flush the toilet. That's it. Just a good freshwater source that we can use the facilities in the camper. Now, I know this thing makes a little bit of racket. So I don't know if you have close neighbors, maybe put this behind something or like leave it in the bed of your truck and close the tonneau cover. But either way, like the hose that it comes with is, like I mentioned, probably 10 or 12 feet long. So let's just say that your truck is hooked up to the camper, you're only probably 6 or 8 feet away from the city port thing on the side of your camper. So I think this is going to work awesome for the application. And like you guys saw here, I went through half of this tank on a fully charged 3-amp battery, and it's still fully charged. So I see no reason at all why this thing couldn't go through one, if not multiple tanks off of one 3-amp battery. Man, I think this is a solid addition to the camping get-up. And like I mentioned, I got some contingencies just in case this didn't work because I had my reservations based on the price. But this tank alone, I feel, is worth that price. And now that I have that, now don't worry, I'm going to run a couple tanks through this and kind of clean it out because Lord knows where these things come from these days. But either way, I think this is going to be a good solution and it's going to prove itself worthy in camping trips to come. So guys, like I mentioned, all of this stuff, at least the stuff that I can find, well, the tank especially because I got it from Amazon, and this battery holder thing, I don't know. Obviously, this one's for Dewalt. Like I mentioned, you can get other ones. I'm just going to link the Dewalt and the Milwaukee because there is a gazillion out there. And whatever you got, you got. I mean, you got a bunch of rigid tools. Like, I get it. You stick with your brand because it's cheaper. You invest in that line and the batteries are so expensive. Whatever. But that's why I like these things because you have all of those expensive batteries that you invested in. Why not use them for other applications? Like, I have these things everywhere. I run my kid's little electric dirt bike on a Dewalt battery. The 12-volt DC LED lights inside my car trailer, I use this for, so no matter where you're at, whether you're hooked up to a truck or not, you still have lights inside. Like, these things are so handy. I use them absolutely freaking everywhere. I will do my best to try to find an applicable 120 AC pump for the same application. And yeah, man, I think this is going to work pretty good. So, like I mentioned, if you're interested, check out the links down in the description below to do this little handy dandy thing for yourself. And let's be honest, this whole thing, I don't know. I know I talk a lot, but let's just say 15 minutes in and out. You're done. Solder this thing together, throw it in the truck. You're going camping, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this little one, and we'll see you next time.